walk into these restaurants and the building matches and the sign matches and the napkins match and the menu matches and the food matches and the cocktails match. And then I look at their brand and I'm like, what is this?
Into the latest episode of Rise, Grind, Repeat. In today's episode, we talked to Melissa Anaya from Eat, Drink, AZ. Welcome back. We chat about how they've used video to help themselves grow, along with how we could help from a data and analytics perspective. Let's hop right in.
Would love to hear an update of what all you've been up to. We've been seeing your videos quite a bit. The videos have been getting better. They've been getting more abundant, and just what have all you been up to? I mean, it's explain it all.
Yeah, thank you, Dustin, for having me. This is super awesome to come back. My favorite word right now is game changer. Like, I even think if you look back at like the first podcast, how long ago was that now?
Man, 8 months. Almost a year, because we haven't been in here for a year yet. Mm-hmm. So I'd say about 7 months, 8 months.
Wow. Yeah.
I feel like so much has changed since then.
I feel like it's been longer.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you think time goes by, and when you look back, you're like, it hasn't been that long, and the amount of stuff you actually accomplish in that time. So one of my favorite things is when you actually shared the podcast a couple weeks ago, and I loved looking at just the dynamic of how much I've even changed. So I would have to say, and I have to say this first, I quit drinking like 4 months ago. And even though I'm a foodie and everyone and I go out and I sampling, I'm actually not drinking the drinks, but it has been a game changer for my business. So I have to just start off by saying that, and it's been huge. So I kept going out and I kept saying time equals money, money equals time. And I was like, my business is great. I have great cash flow. I could live this life forever. And people be like, you made it, you did good, you started your own company. And I kind of could have just floated along that way for a little bit. But I was like, God, I feel like something's missing. And there could be so much more if I just try this. I said, just give it a try. And I wasn't like crazy like drinker. I'd have my glass of wine on Wednesday. I would go out Friday, Saturday, go out with my girls. But it was those hours that were accumulating, and it was that time, and it was that money. And I go, try it on for size. I go, what's it gonna hurt? I go, your business and all of this takes time. I said, alcohol will always be there. It'll always produce the same result, and it's always more than happy to take your money. I go, so just try it for a little bit. First 3 weeks, I was kind of bored. I actually went to some like food samplings because I get invited to these restaurants, and no one knew if you don't say anything. And I was like, and it was spring training too.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's starting to get warm, it's feeling good. It's yeah.
I actually quit the week of the open. And if you know me, I'm a big open person, like love the open. So I tried it on, and 3 weeks. And then the first thing I noticed, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? I guess I'll hit the gym. I guess I'll go to the gym.
Isn't that crazy? Your mind starts actually thinking that. Like, it's like, man, like what?
So I joined the gym. I went to spin, started doing spin, started training with Fight Ready. They're still my client, Fight Ready. I was like, hey, I know you guys are always pushing for me to come in, so I might as well do it. So started training with Anthony over at Fight Ready. And then I was like, wow, the scale hasn't moved in 4 years. I was like, it's moving. That was the first thing to come. And then and I was like, wow. I was like, okay, well, my weight's coming off. I'm looking good. Then my skin changed like crazy. Like my skin and my eyes, like 180, like 4 years off. I swear to God, like crazy. And then the next thing was money. Money was a big thing.
The craziest thing.
And as a foodie, I was a big spender. I wasn't there for happy hour. I didn't care about the happy hour. I was there to try every amazing dish with every amazing $18 to $17 cocktail. So my bills were not like $20 at happy hour. I was leaving with like $80 bills because I would want three $12 expensive $12 to $17 cocktails at some of these places add up. So then the money came, and then I hired another employee, and then I hired a video crew, and then I bought my equipment. And it's just like, I was like, and then all of a sudden I landed a really big account. So excited, signed to Arizona Restaurant Week, did their spring session, and then I landed another big account, and I was like, I would have never been able to do this. I would have ran out of energy. I would have not had time for my kids, my partner, myself, and it all just started flooding in, and I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what was missing in my life, and shit is just flying. Like, business is just booming right now.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you hit on a couple good points. One is just the financial aspect. It's like, it adds up, and then it's like, oh, well, it's only $60 here, $80 there, but then it's like, whoa, look back at last quarter, and it's like, couple $1,000 I could have bought this, I could have done that, I could have invested into Facebook, whatever it is. There's a lot that could have been done. And to your point, it's like, you look back and are you just like, I am so happy I drank those 3 cocktails, like 2 months later. Like, if you were to not have done it, it's not like you're gonna look back and go, oh, I'm so mad I didn't drink that one drink that one time. And even then, it's like, I mean, I've run into it where I've just started working on the weekends. I used to be every weekend just go hard, party hard, and then it's like, outside of just the cost and all that, you mentioned the time. Not so much the time that's being taken while doing it, but after the fact, when you're just like, all right, I'm just going to sit on the couch, not get anything done. You got a headache, you got all that stuff that prevents you from doing things. And so even outside of the time and energy you're spending the day of, that after the fact, and there's just opportunity cost. There's so much opportunity, not so much lost. There's opportunity that could have been had. I mean, it's someone could say, well, you got to have a life, and there's a lot of different things, but I think there's a lot to be said where, hey, just sacrifice for a year or 2, maybe 3, then you're going to have 3-4x the life. Yeah. 40, then I'll 50 go to years Fiji after that.
And have a cocktail.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was the other thing. And I'm like, I've been to every bar and brewery and nightclub from here to Vegas. And I was like, I've already experienced that. I'm not missing out on anything. And I was like, but if I look back and I go, and I'm in the same place and I would have never known, I was like, how can I live with that? So I tried it on, and it just, one of the best choices I've ever made.
Cool. I mean, I can feel the excitement. It's cool to see.
Super exciting.
So how did you, explain the new account that you got?
So Arizona Restaurant Week was big. They're opening a lot of doors. Obviously, they are the organization here in the Valley. They put on the Foodist Awards. They do all kinds of amazing things. And then right after that, I landed, and it's a pretty detailed account, but Wasted Grain and Bubble Room, which if you're from Arizona, you know that's the old Martini Ranch and Shaker Room back in my heyday, right? Have you been there?
I mean, not Shaker Room. Yeah. Wasted Grain. Yeah.
Wasted Grain. So and they're a very detailed account. And then I landed the Sips here in the Valley, and just stuff has just been tacking on. So, and then I launched, of course, from the last time we talked, Eat Drink AZ.
I know. How has that been going?
Oh my God. Well, you guys know this. Video just is king.
I've been wanting to ask this. So please explain, one, why you invested into a video crew, equipment, all that. Like, obviously, if you're going to be investing into it, it's going to drive a return. Yes. It might not be right away, but what are some of the things that have come? What are the opportunities that have come since tripling down on just putting video out there?
Yeah, I'll kind of run you through all of that. So as a social media marketer and working with these restaurants and also being a foodie, I kind of looked at like all of the foodies, and I looked at all of the companies, and I just found all the gaps is what I did. And so I go, well, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And I go, okay, video's king. I go, so bank off of that. I go, okay, so have your partner help you, which is also my boyfriend, Jim. I go, because he's on TV and radio and all that. I go, have him help you with having great camera presence. You can learn, you can, get your videos out there, just do it. They don't have to be perfect right now. So I did videos. And then of course, along with that, I ran like a digital campaign along with them. And then from that, versus me posting, even if I had a post attached to an ad, it just wasn't working that well.
Was it not working well, or was it not getting the reach that you wanted? And I'm asking this because everyone is so in love with, I want to grow organically, but people say, I want to grow organically, but I also want to scale. And you can't really have both without the ad side of it. And so can you explain the difference between the benefits that you've seen between doubling down on the ads and not just posting organically?
Yes, absolutely. I always tell my clients 3% of your audience, that's it, that's seeing those organic posts. It's nothing. And they're like, well, post every day, post every day. I go, you don't have to post every day. If you're running a really successful ad with great content, it's like it's being put out there 8 times a day. I go, you can, and then put your one piece of content that's amazing organically. So that's all that I did, is that I created this like amazing, got the video done, right? Because video already trumps. So did this video on the front end, so organically, and then attached ads to it. There's some other things that we did. We have a bot that we attached to it, but added the ads in the background, and I just target different audiences. And I started my Facebook page, and everyone's like, your Facebook page doesn't grow. It's so hard now. In 3 weeks, I was at 2,000.
Excuses. It's excuses. I mean, yeah, that is so awesome.
And the only reason why it's at 2,000 now is just because I haven't put any more ad spend to it currently at this moment. But in 3 weeks, I went up to 2,000.
It's ridiculous how many people you can reach, how much you can grow with just so little money in throwing it. And it's like, this is why, like I said, my whole background, I originally started with like the Google and all that stuff. And then the digital space is so cheap compared to the traditional space. And it's just the cost per eyeballs is how I like to equate it. The cost to get 2 eyes on your piece of content is just a lot cheaper, and it's you can track it. And I think there's just so much white space there.
Absolutely. And I'm addicted to that part. I'm addicted to, because I was looking at all these influencers, and I've worked with some of them, and I'm like, okay, they're selling these packages and they're selling them organically, right? And they're selling newsletters. And I'm not a big fan of newsletters at all. So, and I go, so what's the difference? What does my agency already do? Well, we do mobile blasts. We integrated the bot system, which we can get into that later. And I go, okay, so create an influence around who you are. I go, these videos will push you out there. People are already hitting me up without even trying, these restaurants, right? For Eat Drink AZ. Now, once I build my following, but have all the tracking analytics to it, because that's what I'm trained to do, right? Now I'm going to sell them an influential package with real data. And along with that, why don't you jump on board with our agency as well? You want to buy my influence, but as well, we can run the same successful campaign for your brand as well. So that's all I did. And so that's what I'm building now with Eat Drink AZ.
Love it. I do want to get into the bots and see how you guys are using them. I do. Before that, you're putting together an awesome strategy. I mean, it's incredible to hear the growth, especially after I wouldn't say a little bit of effort, but I feel like you're just dabbling. It sounds like you're gonna be even tripling down even more as you move forward, and that's exciting to hear. How are you going to do that? Usually the biggest struggle is, well, what content do I you see the results, but then it's like, okay, cool, we've done that. Now what? Are you struggling with that at all, or do you already have a content plan?
Not at all. I totally have a content plan.
How did you come up with that?
So I think even when you hear like the first podcast, it was kind of just, so the videos that you see right now that are out, they're based on the overall concept of the restaurant. They have some food, they have some drink, they have, a little bit of the restaurant, some beauty shots, all of that. And I go, okay, those are great and they're awesome, but those are for purely practice right now. I'm not using those for anything but just pushing them out in pure practice. So Eat Drink AZ. Now, going back to working with restaurants, my restaurant owners hate Yelp. Like any restaurant owner hates Yelp.
I think these guys can attest. I think there's probably been 30% of people that come in here that anytime Yelp is brought up, they've never like, oh, I love it.
Right? They hate Yelp. They get beat up on there. It's usually negative reviews. Mm-hmm. Even the Google is much better. It's even if you look at my restaurant clients, their Yelp reviews to their Google, it's just the Google is different. They're always like a.
Is it a different audience that's leaving reviews on I mean, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know the why.
I actually do not know why on that at all. But so Google and Yelp are based on the overall concept, right? Mm-hmm. So being a foodie and then working with the restaurant owners, they're always like, well, we specialize in this and we specialize in that. And I'm like, okay, well, we can push ads out. We can do all these things. So I always had that in the back of my mind with Eat, Drink, AZ. And then one day I was talking with my partner, Jim, and I go, there's nothing that if I was searching for a specific item that I can find. So if you have, say, the Mission in Old Town Scottsdale that specializes in carne asada, like tacos, I'm not going to be able to find that. It's going to be based on the overall concept. So Eat, Drink, AZ is changing in December and then changing again in the following year for 2020. So what we're going to be able to do is we're taking 2 restaurants. I do all the research. I find their top item that they specialize in. It could be strawberry pancakes. It can be mojito. It can be whatever it is. You'll eventually be able to go to the website and search whatever you want. And versus me being paid to say that it's great, because that was my other big issue with things that I've seen online, is that they're like, this is great. And I'm like, well, is it really that great? Yeah. And Jim actually brought that up to me. I had went to a tasting. He was like, how is the food? And I was like, it was horrible. And he was like, well, why'd you put it was good? And I was like, I don't know.
You feel bad. I mean, you don't, you know what I mean? You don't want to make someone feel bad about.
And he goes, you're going to get discredited out there. And I go, yeah. I think you're right. So I took that flaw in the system and I go, so now I'm going to do the research, find the top place for that specific item, same fun videos that you see me do. And I'm just going to tell you the differences based on your palate. So, hey, you guys, I'm here at the Mission. If you love smoky and mole, you're definitely going to want to come here and check it out. Yeah. If you love, say, enchiladas, you like green chile or like whatever it is, you're definitely going to want to come there. So the user can pick which place they want to go to now based on their palate.
I love that because that's huge. Because, I mean, if you're to say this isn't good, it might be great to the 6 other people. And so I think good and bad could be subjective, and so I think just saying, hey, this could be good if you like I think then, because I feel people might be afraid to bring you on because they don't want a negative review, and so you're avoiding that by just saying if you like these things, you would like this, and you might not like it, but you're not giving that opinion. You're just that's genius.
Yeah, so you'll eventually be able to, once I build up the entire media library, you'll be able to go to Eat, Drink, AZ, type in any item that you want, and find the under 60-second video to it. I'm building my YouTube. I have a bot system on my website. I have a bot system on my Facebook. I'm running ads. I have a text blast system. So all of these things so that I'm able to distribute it when someone jumps on board with me.
Literally, that sentence you just said, there's like 17 bullets. I'm like, okay, I want to know more about that. The bots. What are you guys doing with that? And what made you start? Because there is such a negative connotation around them. Everyone hates them. They're dumb, But I think it's just like every other tool. If you use it right, it could be done. Right. It could be done well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So we're doing this. If you saw any Arizona Restaurant Week ads and you saw the bot out there and any of our ads, they had more engagement than ever before. We collected so many emails, all because of this system. So it's actually not even, it's owned by ManyChat. So ManyChat has this bot, right? And you add it on to Facebook. And what it does is as soon as the user engages or messages on Facebook, it pretty much pools their Facebook user ID. Now they have the option to opt out. So some people are like, oh, I don't like that. I don't want to be taking my screenshot of myself. It says you can unsubscribe. Very clear, right? So we attach these ads. We do giveaways, right? So most of the time there's a giveaway. Sometimes there's not. We push these ads out. They engage in the bot, which opts them into our system. Now, whenever we want to blast these people, it's a 95% read open rate. We have never had less than 92% read open rate. So we're getting rid of newsletters. People live on social media. They're not always checking their email. It could even be a junk email that they gave you. Mm-hmm. Their message isn't even getting to them.
How many people actually give real emails?
And my business email, I'm never going to give that out.
Exactly. Yeah. You have 4 different emails. This one is like, I don't really know you, so here's this. I do know you.
Yep.
So going back to your statement about I hate newsletters, is that why?
Yep, the read open rate. I've never, all my clients, whenever they show me 20%.
20%. 20% is like the average. So like that's where I was going to go whenever you mentioned that, because I mean the open rates for, I mean I would love to hear the open rates on your text message as well. I mean I'm sure it's in the
all
90s.
The same.
I mean
all the same. So we have this bot system, right? So, and Arizona Restaurant Week, they use their newsletter for other things, and our clients can ask for whatever they want with it, right? So, but some of my other clients, they want numbers, like with Wasted Grain. So we're doing this VIP giveaway. We have this ad going out to everyone, right? People are opting in. We're collecting all this information. And now we're like, hey, by the way, we want to offer you something else. What's your phone number? Automatically uploads it into an Excel, because what you don't realize is that you've already given Facebook and Instagram your number. Yeah. So they're just tapping it and agreeing. The user doesn't even have to do anything extra. So now we're taking their email. I hand my client an Excel list at the end of the month with a bunch of numbers, and they can do whatever they want. And guess where they live? On their phones and social media. We're getting rid of all other elements. So that's pretty much what we're doing. And no one's doing it in the restaurant industry. No one is. So that's how we're launching all of our ads right now.
That's awesome. When it comes to the restaurant industry, what are others doing? Are others using social quite a bit? Like what other channels, what other tactics, because it sounds like you're doing something a lot different than most people.
Yeah. They're having their bartender post.
Yeah, I mean, I do. My friends that are bartenders, I say that all the time.
You know, it's when I talk to owners, and I meet with restaurant owners, it's crazy. And I think we touched on this last time, is they have their websites up to par now. When you remember when back in like 2000 in the dot-commers and that era, it took them forever to get websites. Now it's like I jump on board and everyone has a great website. Now I feel like I'm repeating that by like 6, 7 years, and no one has their Facebook and their Instagram on point. So even getting that on brand and creating a brand identity with them is a win in itself, of not having someone post for them or their manager throw up something. So we come on board, we do all these things, and we're finding out that they love that alone, right? And then you add on the ad aspect and they're blown away, because they never realize that they go hand in hand. They're all hitting that boost button, thinking that they're attracting and hitting it on Instagram too, and all that. We spent like $100 like
wrong KPI to look at
last month, and we had and
how much did you make?
and what was your return, and all these things. So I find that most restaurant owners do Yelp. They all try the Yelp, and then they say that they hate it. None of them, I've never seen anyone do Google. They have this stigma that it's very expensive, so not a lot of them are doing Google. And then I would say next is they're just posting organically, and there really is no synergy to it at all.
Yeah, it's funny because we've actually recently had, I know one, I think maybe two people where recently they've come in, and it's you hear that the website is awesome, but we don't feel that out on social. And I think you just mentioned a great point. More and more, it's easier to come up with a good website now. There's so many tools to quickly do it. You don't need developers. And I mean, to do a super custom site, and if you choose this, it automatically updates and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, you might need a developer and some code or whatever, but I think for the most part, it's super cost effective now to build a decent looking website. And so now the issue is the social, and how are you reaching people and all that. And I think the value you're bringing is huge, because it's funny, whenever I start engaging like with you more, I get more restaurant advertising ads. It's fun. So I start getting, are you a restaurant owner with 4+? I mean, it's not from you, but it's
yeah. I totally know what you're talking about. Yeah, and one of the biggest disconnection I could never understand is that I walk into these restaurants and the building matches and the sign matches and the napkins match and the menu matches and the food matches and the cocktails match, and then I look at their brand and I'm like, what is this? Who created this for you? And like, who knows where? And I never understand that everything about their concept is like planned out to a T, the ingredients and the cocktails and our wait staff's outfit, and then you get to their brand and it's just like how the whole world sees you.
Exactly. The thing that is going to get people excited to come in and enjoy all the time you took to map everything out and have the napkins and all that match. And so it's amazing how and I think it's just more tangible, like napkins and people, you can see that, where from a digital, I think it's just, a lot of people think it's fake, or not so much fake, but it's not as important. It's whatever it may be. Yeah. How do you go about helping a brand find that brand identity on social? Because I mean, just brands in general have a difficult time, let alone, I mean, agencies have a hard time figuring that out as well. So, I mean, how do you go about that?
You know, with restaurants, I have found that it's a little bit easier because they're so in sync with their concept. So their logo usually matches. So we're pulling their logo, we're pulling all the elements. Usually, like, a restaurant will have, you know, steel and brick and all these things that match. Mm-hmm. So we pull all of those, we pull them like onto a grid, and we pull their items and we layer it, and we pick out different areas of their restaurant, and they'll tell us, like, yeah, this one works, this one doesn't. We see our brand like this. So we'll lay out like a 9 grid on an Instagram, so like 3 rows of 3, to have them see what it could look like to their user, their viewer. And then we pull in like their slogan. Do they want it fun? Do they want it more sleek? Do they want it elegant? Are they a loud brand? Are they family style? Are they humbled? So then we pull all those elements and we just duplicate that onto social media, is pretty much what we do.
Nice. Yeah. No, I love it. I think just a lot of people struggle with their brand. It's funny. It's like people are quick to like notice others and all that, but whenever those questions are asked to a business, it's tough to answer. I mean, even when we're doing it for us, it's like we help you with marketing, but then all of a sudden we come to ourselves like, oh man, it's weird whenever it's you. So it's great that you're helping, because I think that's right there, that cohesiveness, cross-channel in the location, but also how you feel on a social level. I think that helps drive those people in. What
have you found that works, like when you guys jump on board or you work with clients, like the branding? Is that one of the biggest elements that you find that's usually missing?
Yeah, it's the messaging across channel. What you're saying on Facebook is different than what you're saying here, what you look like, and it's just taking the nuances of each of the little platforms, and then how can we fit your brand? And it's really where I think the missing piece, and actually now that I'm speaking through this, I think the missing piece is really identifying the different audiences. I think a lot of people try and just say one thing to everyone, rather than, hey, we might have an older demographic on Facebook, what are we going to say to them, as opposed to Instagram, as opposed to here and there. And really it's all the same message. It's just how you say it might be a little bit differently, or the picture you post might be a little bit different, but typically it's everyone's trying to post the same picture and message across everywhere, and I think that's where the missing piece is.
I'm so glad that you said this, because this is literally what we run with ads. So when we first jump on board with a client, they're like, we want to blast our hamburger special, right? And I'm like, awesome, okay. They're like, we blasted it before, and you know, whatever their reasons were on it. And I go, cool. I go, well, you're hitting vegans probably. You're hitting people that hate meat. Yeah. You're hitting, like, you know, fitness models. I go, you're wasting your ad spend. So when we launch an ad and they're like, well, why can't our budget, you know, we want to hit everything. I go, it is so specific. I go, so give me your cheeseburger, right? We're going to send this specific cheeseburger, right? And we have to figure out your audience of who's clicking on this. So, and once we do that, we can then take, if it's men 45 to 55, alter that ad to suit an older man that would actually click on that ad, and make it even more specific, so that you have a low cost per click, and it's a successful ad campaign. So your cheeseburger, we can launch to men that like motorsports, and men that like, you know, I don't know, something else that's, you know, whatever.
The Cardinal, Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals.
Whatever.
I go, you cannot blast this to everyone. I go, so that when you're ready next year, we do a lot of data, and I don't think people understand that. So when you're ready next year to launch your, you know, meat-loving cheeseburger, we now have ran so many ads, and we know exactly who your target is, and there's no more guessing.
It's all learning.
Yeah.
Real quick, what you just said about you could be an auto lover, Cardinals lover. So like what you just said, how it's the same demographic, same age range, just maybe slightly different interests. That's what we're trying to do with that, is with one video, you can promote that cheeseburger. Now all of a sudden we can do 40 different videos with the background maybe being at an Arizona Cardinal stadium, one having cars in the background, and now that's how we can take that piece of creative and then change the background based off of all these little interests that you're finding. And that's where I think the power in all these platforms are. We're past the point where you can just say your message to anyone and everyone. You have to have a conversation. And I think that's where a lot of things are lost, is a lot of people are talking at people rather than trying to have a conversation with someone. And I think, so going back to what I think is missing, what you're saying across channels is all the same thing, but also then it's, what are you saying to someone that's never seen your brand, as opposed to someone that likes every single one of your posts, as opposed to someone that's seen the deal, like there's all these different actions that you can segment your audiences. And when you know more about them, have they been to the website? No. Well, we need to get them there so they can see what all you can do. If they have been and they haven't done this action, what can we say to get them to do? And it's just literally one big spider web. It's just one big, it's having conversations at scale. And all you do is throw a little bit of money and you can force your way into there. And now it's a matter of, are you forcing your way in, or are you kind of gradually coming in and starting a conversation? I think too many people are just walking up. A great, I guess, analogy that I can put towards it is like someone just walking up to a bar and saying, hey, go out with me, blah, blah. You're not giving anyone the reason why. You're not even introducing yourself. You're not even you're not doing any of those things before.
You gotta butter them up.
Exactly. I mean,
in foodie terms, you gotta butter these people up.
Exactly. But that right there, I think, is a huge missing piece. I know why I get pushback. Do you ever get pushback on why you shouldn't create all these little audiences and all that? Is it typically, well, that's going to take too much time and it costs too much to come up with the creative? And
no, they usually let me go ham on stuff.
Okay. That's awesome. That's trust.
I've never had anyone say, we don't think this is, if anything, they switch up the campaigns too much and don't let them ride for too long. So I've been a little bit more stern, like, hey, if you guys launch this, you can't say that it's unsuccessful in 4 weeks. So that's probably been my biggest thing with my clients, is like, hey, we're going to run this, happy hour anytime, like what we're doing with SIP right now. They can validate it whenever they want with the bot and the ad. It's not, 3 weeks isn't going to do it justice. We need to run this all summer long. I like 90-day campaigns. Those are always my favorite. So the longevity, the analytics come along with it. We can also start to see the movement in there, because they just want to see that POS system.
Yep. Yeah,
they just want, I even had, when I sat with SIP, he was like, the engagement is great and the likes are great. He goes, but I want butts and seats. I was like, perfect, let's do it. But they have to trust me. They hired you for a reason. They can't do it. And that's what I said. I go, you need to be focusing on food. You need to be focusing on management. Yeah. If you were a social media agency or an ad agency, you would be one. You wouldn't be sitting here with me right now.
It's a very
and they all try to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And I never understand that. If I'm not a pro at something, trust me, I will hire that person. Mm-hmm. I am a pro at like a certain few things, and the rest I'm hiring them.
Well, you understand the value of time, and that I think is most people trying to do it themselves, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna save money." Well, sure, you're gonna you're not gonna hand over as much money, but the cost of time is where it's at. Where go with an agency, you might be able to see success in 3 months, whereas if you're doing it yourself, it's gonna take you 2 years to learn. How much are you willing to pay? How much is a year and a half worth to you? And I think that's more of a psychological thing. I think that's.
I'm just getting to, I think, that point in my business too, where I'm not afraid to let go of my money. I think, and maybe because I've thrown it away for so long, I've just, I've never reinvested that way. Other things I have. And so now that I'm at that point, it's almost like I want to give it away. I'm like, who can I invest in right now that's going to get me to that next? It's almost like the stock market. Like I'm playing with people.
I absolutely love it. I say it all the time. It's just like, to me, it is so exciting when whether it's time or money, if you invest into a particular thing and then all of a sudden it's not going to be successful overnight, but if you just keep at it, all of a sudden 3 months later you look back and go, wow, look at what's happened. And it's like, and then all it is it just gets bigger. It's like, okay, like at first I remember I was so excited to buy like a $50 part, and it was awesome, but then that $50 part led to something that then drove maybe $1,000 in revenue. And then once you start investing and seeing the ROI from it gets exciting, because then it's my big, where I'm getting excited is we've been growing a little bit and we're talking about, hiring and all that. And it's like, I was talking with my wife and I'm like, I didn't even care about the growth part, what I'm excited about is that we have the opportunity to invest into someone else that, who knows, they might be at a job that they absolutely hate, and this could be the thing that absolutely changes their life and brings them happiness. Like, it is so cool that we're grinding every single day, making things happen to where we're about to have the opportunity to bless someone else, and to me that's exciting. It's in community. I mean, it's I don't know. It's fun to watch. I mean,
I watch you online. I mean, even from like our first, you guys have already moved offices. You went from like one office to like having like 4 rooms over here. That's huge. That's growth, And so I have to ask you this question, and this is a question, and I don't know if I hear it a lot, and I've been struggling with this question with work and getting to the next level. So you're grinding, right? My mind hurts sometimes. My brain hurts from staring at a computer. I feel drained. I feel like I can't give anymore when I get home, to my partner or my kids or your wife or, whatever it is. How are you creating with growing? Because I know that you have vision with what you're doing. Where is your balance and how are you creating that? And give me like your, give me that part of it.
I mean, right now it's just over communicating. I mean, the time with the wife is very limited, but yeah, it's setting up, it's not wasting any time. It's not sitting, it's knowing what we're going to do on a Saturday before the Saturday gets there. And like, it's just communicating more and planning things out, just forcing things into motion really. But at the same time, we've also, just kind of have a compromise that like, hey, this thing that's going on now, I want to try and just grind for a couple of years, 3 years. I'm going to be sacrificing family time, all this, but just know that it's to create something better for a longer life. And it's 15, 16 hours a day. I'm usually up at like 4 a.m. I get here like 5 and here until 5 or 6. And then I'll have dinner with the wife and then she goes to bed at 8 and then I'm grinding or working from 8 to 10. And it's a lot of hours. There is no balance right now. I don't go out at all. I'm on the computer a lot. But the mental part isn't there. I don't know, like in terms of, I don't know. I just don't, I haven't I'll get frustrated just when I bite off more than I can chew sometimes and there's too many moving parts or just day-to-day frustration that is always going to be there. But at the same time, there really hasn't been a point where I've been like, man, I can't do this. I think at the beginning when I was about to get married, I think that was the closest that came to it, but that was working full time and then trying to grow this while having a full-time employee while trying to get married and all. That was probably the closest I came to like, man, I think I'm having a heart attack right now.
I was just telling my partner that the other day. I go, I feel hungover. I go, I haven't even drank and I wake up like hungover. My eyes are dark. Like you haven't slept. I look like shit. Like it looks like I went out and partied. I feel, and then I asked myself, like, I don't know how I would have been able to do this if I was going out right now with how much I'm hustling. And I go, I just want to talk to like that person that's made it and go, this is gonna last like 4 years. And then you'll know, like when you get to that next point, because you're gonna hire and you're gonna place all these systems and that mentor that's gonna be like, just hold on, you're gonna want to die and it's gonna be a while, but you will get there. Like that feeling that you have. Do you ever like just
Yeah, no, that light at the end of the tunnel, basically. It's like I'm doing this and putting my blinders down, like just doing it, knowing that in 2 or 3 years, that time will be there. And that's basically what the compromise came to, was that's what's going to happen. I have a funny feeling that once we get there, I don't know, this to me is addicting. Like I love this and I feel like I don't think I'll ever be at a point anytime soon where I'll be like, all right, we have everything in place, I can take a step back. I don't know, growth. Because I just love doing, I don't know, I growing up, even playing baseball, it's like I was up at 5 a.m. till practice at 7 p.m., get home, do homework up until 10. Like I feel like it's funny, we actually just had this conversation with my wife. She goes, are you always going to be just doing this? And I was like, now I think about it, I've always have been like, through even my freshman year of college, during baseball season, I made the decision to take 19 credit hours while playing baseball. Like, and that was, I don't know. I think I'm addicted to just throwing myself into a fire and just, we're going to get through it. And it's going to be fun when we do, but Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
right now it's just a compromise, over communicating, and just we do set, like, she has weekends off, so it's like lately just Saturdays have been off, work a little bit over the weekends, but the last like 4 or 5 weeks have just not so much. And it's killing me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's tough. I don't know if that answers your question,
No,
but
you know what? It does. It answers it very well. And I think the reason why I'm so intrigued with this too as well is that I've had my company for 4 years, but I've always been coasting. Like it was always mediocre, and it was always, so this realm on a very honest level is very new to me, and I don't want it to. I love it. I love every part of it, and I love the grind, and I love everything. And I'm into like, being mentored and having coaches and doing all these things right now, and what's going to help me and what's going to help me grow. And, if I hire this person, is this going to, it's such a gamble. And that's kind of like what I'm playing with right now.
yeah. Are you nervous about?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm not nervous with anything. I don't think I've ever been nervous with my choices. I'm a very trusting person, so I kind of just I go with it. I don't really look back. I think that I feel like I've always mastered that part. Not afraid, never afraid.
And I think that's something that gets us through things quicker. Is I think I'm the same way, where it's decision, when it's done, we're moving on. If it's the wrong decision, something will come up, but then now we make a new decision. And like when we have don't dwell on the past, because that just takes time. I mean, if you were to sit there and dwell on the past, if you add it up, how much time is spent just going, I wonder if that was right, when you'll never know. So why even waste the time there when it's like, hey, let's have a quick 5-minute meeting instead of think about and how can we now solve this problem? And it's just, I don't know. As I've been talking to more and more businesses, it fascinates me to see how people spend their time and money, and it's just where you invest it, and it looks like you're investing in the right places, which is probably why you're seeing that growth.
Yeah. What have you seen? What's the common denominator? Since you have a podcast and you're talking to all these business owners, what would you say is the common denominator that they're spending on?
Spending too much time trying to achieve perfection before getting to market, I think is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of our first podcasts, who were like, oh, I wouldn't have released that, blah, blah, blah. But some of those first ones led to opportunities that got us to hit. And it's especially the corporate level. I mean, nothing now, but in previous agencies and stuff like that, it takes 4 weeks to make a decision. It's like by the time the decision is made, the opportunity is gone. Yeah. And even then, there have been times where we go back and forth on creative, and it's like, man, the amount of time we took to get this perfect, how much more revenue did these changes drive, as opposed to maybe let's take that time and energy and just make another video. I think there's more ROI in being a little less polished, a little less produced. I know Dre, from a creative standpoint, doesn't like hearing that. Most creatives don't. Most creatives don't like hearing that, because that's their life.
Yeah.
I mean, making things look beautiful. Exactly. And so when you're trying to do that extra week of back and forth and all that could have been spent making another one, and that other one that got made, it might be the thing that someone saw, and that someone could be the thing that makes that opportunity.
I totally agree. Even like when I shot my first video, I didn't script it. We went out there.
That's the best.
We were there for 8 hours. The restaurant owner was like, dude, like, how much longer? I didn't know. I had no idea even what I was going to say. I knew that I was doing these videos and they were for practice. And I went out there with that mindset. I'm like, these are for practice. Yeah. Push them. And every restaurant owner loves videos.
Yeah. Everyone loves videos.
They will take a free video whenever. That's part of my market. Everyone's like, well, how much are you charging for these now? Like, I've seen them. They look great. And I'm like, I'm not. I go, that is part of my marketing budget. They're like, you're not charging for these? I go, they go, and you're paying for ads, and I'm paying for a video crew. I go, no. I go, every company has a marketing budget. That's my marketing budget. Yeah. There is a greater plan involved in what I'm doing.
So you just bring up a good point. How are people spending their marketing budgets? I mean, newspaper. I mean, it's just fascinating to see where people, like, you're doing it on creating videos to highlight another business. So many people would say that doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? But you have a greater vision. You know that creating win-win-win situations is going to get more yeses. The more yeses you get, it's that opportunity is going to come.
And video is king.
Yeah.
So it'll go very fast. And in the world of food, it doesn't really exist on YouTube. So we're launching our whole series on YouTube with you guys, which is really exciting.
Love it. So Have you done anything outside of the social realm for businesses? And where I'm going, I know you mentioned that Google's expensive and all that. Have you tried other technologies, anything like that? And I only ask because we've recently come in contact with a vendor that can do what's called connected TV over the top, where basically you can target people that are foodies, people that frequent restaurants, and serve them commercial ads on Hulu while they're watching TV. But even more so, you could tell when that person actually comes into a location. So basically, your restaurant owners, what you could do is the videos that you're doing, show it on TV, and then those people, when they come in with their device, that because the TV ad shows up, it hits their Wi-Fi or their home, all the devices on that Wi-Fi get pinged. You go into the restaurant, you're on your phone, that the device ID is seen in there, and you can actually track, hey, you had 400 people come in from this TV spot. Have you ever tried anything like that at all?
No, but I'm about to. I am open for anything digital. And actually, we had just implemented ManyChat about 5 months ago now. We didn't even have it. We were successful already with our ads, and we met with someone that we know at SIP, and he was like, hey, I implemented it within 7 days. So I'm that person. If I see something, if I see something, you tell me about it and it sparks an interest, I'll be like, let's do it. Let's try it on for size, anything, because I'm not stopping. We just followed our lane with social media where we found that foodies are for our restaurants. But this is the very beginning stages of our agency. We want to have so many different things. This is what's getting us through right now. This is what's selling our packages. This is what we know, but I want to hire people that specialize in certain things, softwares, all of that, and just grow that side. So yes, I'm open to it.
I'd love to chat because we're working on we're going to start like just promoting it and really going after this brick and mortar play. A lot of the auto dealers, I think, is where we're going to start focusing on, because it's like, and even then, from a targeting perspective, you could even geofence, so Wasted Grain, you could target all the other bars that are in that Scottsdale area. Anyone that goes into them, you can now hit them with ads. So you can basically target anyone that goes into your competitor's restaurant or bar and just
they're all smart TVs?
Well, no, so you could even do it on mobile device. So TV is part of the devices that you can hit. The other part is mobile. And so like if they're sitting there or they go into a bar, like whatever it is, the restaurant, like we just get the address and you can do a little fence around it. And it's a new technology, but I think it's super powerful where it's been around for a little bit. Part of it was you can only target the people that are in there, but where the new version, I guess, 2.0 is you can target people that have been in there in the last 30 days. And then you could even say people that have been here 3+ times in the last, you could target people that go here between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., you know, they're partying, whatever. Then you can start talking about the specials that you have, you know, that you can figure out what to say to people when you know when they're going to places and stuff like that. And we've been wanting to test it. I mean, we haven't tested it yet. But yeah, been
Let's
looking
do
for
it.
If you want to,
Let's
if you
do
want to,
it.
it'd be awesome.
I'm totally game. I think too, as like a marketer, you're always looking for that next thing that you want to start at the beginning with. That next Instagram, that next Facebook, the next YouTube, whatever it is. You're like, you want to jump on board and you want to try it.
Yeah.
You know.
So going back to where are people spending money and everything like that, there's so much spent on traditional TV where the connected TV has been around for 4 years. The difference is 4 years ago, I remember I was super excited. I was like, wait, you can not just target a whole zip code, but you can just target people that are in market for a vehicle and then show them a car ad, like individual TVs. But the minimums were you had to come in with $150,000 a month, and it's just now gone to the point where it's a lot lower. I think like $500, $1,000 a month. So just the barrier to entry is gone a lot lower, which makes it. But there's very few people in the OTT space, and I think it's a huge white space right now.
Yes.
We're gonna start promoting our podcasts, and that's gonna be part of it as well, as targeting CMOs, just marketing decision makers on TV.
I love it.
And so same with it's crazy what technology is doing. We just got a billboard as well, and I typically hate them. I'm not for them only because it's we've done it for a few people, and it's you spend $4,000 on the creative sometimes, and then you can't switch it at all. It's other 4 weeks. I mean, the prices that we got, it was $3,000 a week. So I mean, $12,000 a month to be on the 10.
Have you gotten a return?
Well, okay, so that's how it typically goes. But what we found is there's this new platform where you can buy it programmatically. So we're literally only showing our ad like from the Ahwatukee area, so along the 10 and along the 17, we're showing it in the morning going towards downtown, and then so it's basically during rush hour, and then it turns off and then comes back on in the afternoon as people are heading out. And so that's where we're going to start promoting the podcast. I mean, it's funny, I've actually had two or three people reach out, hey, are you guys doing billboards?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. You guys actually saw it. And so, yeah, people that I haven't talked to in so long, and I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I don't think I've always, not always, but I've said for a while that I don't think billboards work. But it's more of the ROI isn't there, where I think something like this, where you can say, hey, during these hours, let's have this message. I think having more of a conversation and using the data, that I think is where there could be some ROI.
Okay, so I got to give you something that my boyfriend, so he's in radio. We have bumped heads forever. And I think we touched topic on this a little bit, and like mass media, publications, like all these things. And he goes, you have to look at it very differently. He goes, there's a reason why the big companies do it. And he goes, I know you love your ads and being able to track everything. He goes, but when you have a big budget, to them, it's top of mind awareness. And I love that word, top of mind awareness. So when they're seeing you, they're just the first thing, or, driving by or whatever it is. And if you have extra money to do those things, sure, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not against that at all. Like I do a few trades, and I did one with Joyride, this cool little, they're the golf cart company in Old Town Scottsdale.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was a no-brainer for me. They're going to put my face on all their golf carts. Yeah. And I'm like, it'll be easy for someone to be like, I saw you riding drunk on the back of a golf cart. And I'll be like, perfect. And it's going to be me like eating food with like, the website. My analytical data side, I'm going to wrap some sort of giveaway like around to it for the summer that we're launching it. And I'm all about, just impressions and people seeing me when it's top of mind awareness and, in a very foodie, strict area. Yeah. So I love that stuff.
Yeah. And usually those traditional or offline channels, I mean, most people, I guess, in the digital side steer away from them. There's a lot of, I guess, this channel works, this one doesn't. It's all about how you use it. And I think it all works. And it's all about the ROI. And that's usually where the downfall is, well, I got to spend, at the end of the day, $20,000 a month on this billboard, where how am I going to get it? And to your point, the tracking part, but there's some clever ways that you can do it. Like, for example, we've just been looking at how many people in these zip codes are starting to search for our brand, and we can see organic searches going up in these areas where we have the billboards and stuff like that. And so we're not going to have a one-to-one comparison, but what we have are basically just comparisons showing correlations showing when we did this, started spending money here, all of a sudden we started seeing people search for our brand more. We're not going to say like that did it, but I mean, come on, the data's there. Like
let's be real, we love to test stuff.
Exactly. So it's funny because you have a lot of people asking, well, what channels work and don't work? I think they all work. It's a matter of how you use them. But what I think needs to be done is how are you measuring it? And that I think is where you have, because again, the billboard, it's funny because it's like, as much as I've said stuff about it, whenever I mentioned it and when people said it, they're like, oh my gosh, you're on a billboard. So it's like that power, the power top of mind, it is there. How much does it cost though? And that's where my question is, how much does it cost? Now that they made it to where you can choose your budget, choose when you do it, now it's a little easier to step into, test it and all that. And I think digital is going to amplify a lot of traditional mediums. For example, like the OTT and connected TV.
I agree. Because there was a separation for so long, and they're going to try to synergize that and create how can they bank on us and vice versa.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think, just showing up on TV, there's so much power in that. People just think you're a huge brand when that happens, but it's how much wasted dollars are there by reaching people that don't have businesses, aren't marketing decision makers. But now that I know if I can spend money and I only reach those people, now it makes sense. Now you can create commercials that speak to those people, and now you can get just a little bit more granular or personal in your messaging, and that's where the ROI starts coming from. And
exactly. And even doing social media, you're paying for impressions. It's the same thing. It's all top of mind awareness with that. It's just different if we're opting for lead generation or anything else, like with our bot system, and they're wanting, like, the owner of SIP said, butts in seats. How do we're able to actually capitalize on that versus letting the impression go.
Yeah. And you mentioned, I think on the last one, that you guys basically just have in-store coupons basically that people can scan, right? And that's how you're...
Yeah, so it goes straight to...
That's huge.
It's huge. So the same thing, and there's this guy that I met now 3 years ago. His name's Dan Henry. He's huge on social media. I don't know if you've seen him. He's a big funnel guy, huge click funnel guy, along with Billy Jean. I'm sure you've seen Billy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Billy
all the
Jean.
time.
I met Billy Jean.
Really?
Yeah, I had drinks with him. He was in Phoenix and he posted, I'm going to be at the JW Marriott and if anyone wants to meet. And there was only a small group of 10 of us.
Wow.
And we just got to pick his brain for
That's cool.
yeah, it was really cool. So got to hang out with Billie Jean. But Dan Henry was at this convention that I went to, and we got to hang out with him at the W and talk to him. And his big thing was, same thing, something just clicks with me, I try it and I do it. Mm-hmm. He was like, you take the same mail flyers that worked successful for all these years, and he goes, and you just put it into a digital coupon.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And so anytime I meet with my clients, I go, you have to be able to, in order to opt them in and grab them, we're still targeting, I go, you have to be able to give them something, same thing, a validation, or an offer. I go, instead though, they're now able to, because they lose that piece of paper, they're able to bring it in on their mobile device where it lives. Yeah. And it's in their messenger, and who doesn't open a Facebook message? Yeah. Have you ever not opened a Facebook message? That's why it's 95% open rate. Even the click-through when we blast through and they want the user to go somewhere else, that is at a 30%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So getting them to leave is at a 30%.
As opposed to emails at what, 2% if you're lucky? I mean, that's huge. That's driving volume.
It is. It's amazing. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I'm super excited about that part. Yeah. So I have grit when I go in and I meet with these clients. They're blown away. They love it.
Awesome. Are there any, big trends, anything that you would love to share? Because you're working with a lot of restaurants. You're working with a lot of digital tools. Are there any tools, any trends, anything that you're seeing that other restaurant owners could benefit from to start testing?
Can you dive into that a little bit more?
Anything from just even are there any different trends in getting people in butts and seats? Because that's ultimately the biggest.
Yes.
So
question. I would say right now what's work. Oh, I hired an amazing girl. She's killing it for our clients. She has a knack for food photos. Mm-hmm. She's crushing it for everyone. And the big thing is questions. People are loving the food questions. We have a silly one right now, and it did amazing organically. You guys are gonna laugh. It's a carrot and a celery, and it says, "Are you team carrot or are you team ranch or are you team blue cheese?" And this trend literally went crazy all over. People were like, if you eat blue cheese, you're just a... So we're doing all these questions with our clients, and are you team egg roll or team crab puffs? So people are wanting to and Facebook is loving the engagement. So if you can't afford an agency or you're doing your posts, these questions are blowing up when you're putting two items next to each other and asking people Coke, Pepsi. They're sharing it, they're commenting, and then organically you can invite them to your page. Does that answer your question? Trends like that?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100%.
Okay. Yeah,
that's okay. So I love what you just said, because there's someone that we've done a podcast with. He actually spoke here at a digital summit couple months ago. I don't know how long ago, but what you're speaking to, I think, is super powerful, because what you're doing, people aren't just answering the question. What you're doing is creating a sense of being a part of something, and you're either part of here, you're part of a team, and you're just creating a community on either end. And people aren't answering because they just see, oh, their friend said that. I think that's so powerful, and not because I was gonna ask, are you doing questions that are yes or no, or is it team? Yeah.
Team. We're doing team. And
Yeah.
then on stories, we're having them submit answers there. And people want to be involved right now. That's the trend. People want to answer and they want to be involved. They no longer, you can do the traditional hey, come in for your blah, 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 blah. And of course we always put those out. But anytime you ask anyone a question, because you know why? Because people love to be right, not wrong.
Yep. Yeah. And people just want to be part of something. I think in the digital world, people are just so disconnected or feel disconnected that if you invite them to be part of something, there's so much opportunity there. Yeah. Are you guys doing anything with the questions on highlighting people or even just helping restructure process or anything like that based off of questions that?
Yeah, people love, we find that the brands that we share the stories with, so for like IG stories, we notice that once people see that and if you have like a decent number for your restaurant, most of them do, those people want to do the same. So they're going in and they're remembering your story. So they're sharing it so that they can be on your story. So we're getting them to share versus them just forgetting about us and going in and snapping a photo. Or maybe they forget, they remember our brand because they love our brand and they're involved in the brand. And they're like, I'm going to share my tacos. I'm going to share my margarita because they know that we share it. So community is big right now with Instagram and social media and Facebook. The other big thing is we're putting people in all of our ads, whether it's crazy, but it's a trend right now. Hands, faded backgrounds of people, the pictures of just items with like a traditional beer in the background or whatever. It's kind of like we were bored of the commercial ads. Now we're getting bored of the traditional, your restaurants in the background. Now people are liking like fun colors and bright foods and people in the background and people laughing. Like they're into this fun. Everything's fun right now with my brands.
And are you testing at all changing the images based off of like the interest of like the background that you use?
Yes. Yeah. So obviously we're able to tell when we go through at the end of the month on what worked well and what didn't. So then we pull those and then we'll run that because we go in and we shoot brand new at the first of every month. So that's something that's really awesome that our clients love. It's not repetitive. It's not the same stuff. Even if they're out of state, we have an out of state client. We hire someone, we go to get their items fresh beginning of every month based on what worked well the previous month.
Love it. That's the exact model that we're going after. Just basically need to be doing fresh content every month.
But that's our minds. We're testing. That's the clients think, they love it, but what they don't realize is that we're testing to produce successful numbers. Mm-hmm. That's all we're doing.
Do you show them the numbers to say, hey, this is why we want to do, and how much do people just love that? Like, It's like not that much, because every time I present the data and it's like just the thought process on why we're making the recommendations.
Yeah, I have my clients that absolutely love it, and I have my clients that I think it's a little bit
too much.
It's a little bit too much, and it's very hard for them to understand, but because they'll stay with me for so long, they start to understand it more as time goes by and they start to get it. So I think that that's probably why they end up loving it, is understanding it. But it's still a tough world, I think, and I think when we speak or we meet with clients, I even had like someone say that they're like, you got to figure out how to like dumb this down. And I was like, I just start like geeking out, and I can usually connect with my client very, cool and be able to talk to them. I go, but sometimes I start getting too analytical with stuff and I have to remember.
How do you present the data? Is it all tables and numbers, or is it like actual visualizations where you're correlating like, here's your spend, here's your, and that's too much?
No, the pitch is easy for me. The pitch is really easy for me. I close very well on my pitch, and I think it's because I connect with my clients. It's the after reporting that's a little bit tough for them, because it's like they understood the pitch, but all the different elements that go on the organic side, their competitors, the ad spend, what we tested, the engagement, that they're kind of like, whoa, okay, like it looks great, but do they really understand it?
That after the fact, that data, how are you presenting that to them? Is that all big tables, the columns and all that, or do you have like bar charts, stacked bar charts, and all the pretty graphs and all that?
So for all of our ads, even though we can pull all of the data and download it from Ads Manager, we actually upload it into Google Sheets on we put the stuff they understand, who we targeted. They want to see who we targeted, and that's huge for us. That's the part we want them to understand of why it was successful, because if we get a high CPC on it or the ad wasn't successful, we want them to see that part as well. So who we targeted, the cost per click, and where it went out to is what we show them. And then you can see after 9 months the trends, because we're sticking with that. And they're like, and then they start to get it, because it's like kind of like gambling. They're like, oh, wait, but in May, like that did so well, and we were at 3%. Like I go, that was your hamburger one. That one worked. Yeah. And they're like, oh, and they have like this moment where they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And then they'll say to me a month later, can we run that same one with that audience? I go, yeah, but we need something ooey and gooey and creamy like that one. So make sure you bust out this amazing looking cheeseburger, you know? Yep. So they start to understand it on that level. But yeah.
I think there might be some opportunity. I'd love to maybe set up some time if you ever have it, and would love to see your process on how you're doing that, because there's just the reporting and presenting the data is something I'm huge on, because it's like someone can misinterpret it. I think there's so much missed opportunity in showing what's been done, and there's tools that I'm investing in that can pull in all 400 plus different data sources, and then you can start building tons of visuals and all that. And yeah, I would love to see it, because I think even just from a time, I hear what you're doing. I mean, downloading and putting in Sheets, and then are you presenting in Sheets? Or are you importing that into something like Data Studio or a visualization tool?
No, we build at the same time, we upload it to the sheet. Man. We build at the same time, we upload it to the sheet, because we didn't used to do that, and I wanted to put a gun to my mouth. So I was like, what? And then I just realized that you got to do it at the same time. So build an ad, upload it, build an ad, upload it. So then it's all done, and we're just adding it by the time the campaign, because we're running. Yeah. People don't understand too, is we're not running one ad campaign. Like if you look at any of my clients, there's anywhere from 6 to 15 ads a month being ran. So, I mean, it gets really nitty gritty, and I think that's the part they don't understand. And I'm like, you can have the organic side, right? But I'm like, and I always tell them, I go, your moneymaker is in the ads. And every one of my clients eventually sees that. We don't even have them. Most of them don't want to pay for posts every day. We have a few clients. Yeah. It gets pricey to do a post with us every single day. Exactly. I go, but if you're running ads, and that's where your moneymaker is, I go, I start everyone with 3 posts a week. And I go, and then we run your ad campaigns, and it's just like flowing 24/7 is what we do. And then they start to understand that process, so that they don't need it.
Focus organically if you want to sustain, run ads if you want to grow. I mean, that's the easiest way to try and explain it. So as we kind of wrap up, we'd love to hear kind of what you're trying to focus on. But before we get there, just real quick, would love to set up some time, because I think just some of these reporting tools that like we're about to test, I can bring you in, and like it won't cost you anything, but can show you what it can do. But I think honestly, it would free up probably hours of your time a month, just because it's a real-time dashboard. So we can set it up, and all you do is adjust the dates, and it spits it out. You can download it, you can send it out. I don't know if you add insights like, hey, we did this and that, but from a pure data standpoint, we can set up a whole template on here's all the posts that happen here, like whatever it is that the client likes seeing, we can set all that up, and then it's automated. Literally a click of the button, and it's downloaded. And then you don't have to export, you don't have to go up to Sheets. Oh man, I forgot to take this column out, move this, and it just so you minimize errors, it's just more efficient. And I think then if you cut that time out, it allows you to bring on 2-3 more clients maybe. You know what I mean?
This goes back to just a simple business. You solve a problem for someone and they're in. You solve, like that's all I'm thinking about. I'm like, you're solving a problem for me, I want in.
Cool.
Like, sign me up.
Let's definitely set up some time. Because to me, this is the analytics is everything, because you take so long to pitch it, you get the buy-in, you get all that, you execute. Now it's like, here's your chance to show that all that hard work was worth it. And if you can't, not that you can't, but it's hard to show data. People aren't good with numbers and data and all that. So it's such a hard thing. And it could be the difference between having a client for 4 months and having them for 3 years. Like that's a huge difference. And if you're just showing the value that you're bringing. So yeah, I would love to, because then we could do some recording, because we want to push that as well, just the analytical side. And so if you're up for it, we can chat through it later. But
day long.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited. I love that. The data part excites me.
Yes.
Then you guys get insights quicker, and you can give recommendations quicker and all that.
Yeah. Foodie, but make no mistake that I'm an ad geek.
Love it. So as we kind of wrap up, would love to hear just over the next 2 months, what are the things that you're really, really hyper focused on that you know is going to get you to the next level?
Video. I can't preach enough enough. I'm going to start pushing out. Right now I'm only doing about one video. I was doing only about one video per 5 weeks. If that, we're cranking up to 2 starting next month, and then we're cranking up to 4 starting in September. So we're pushing all of that out, duplicating our numbers on Eat Drink AZ, getting the YouTube launched with you guys, website is in the mix, and just creating that whole entire system in order to sell an actual influencer package that has real data behind it.
Love it. Watching the videos, they're going to be a huge success.
Yeah.
The time that you're putting into it, I think it's going to be super ROI positive. And then you just brought up a good point. As you do the influencer packages, if we can figure out the data part of it, and then you can get that data quicker, and that's what's going to get people. Not so much I have this many followers, it's I have this many people, and it's how many people actually engage with our posts. That's what's going to sell and get the larger ticket clients and all that. And so
awesome. Love it. Cool.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the next one. There's going to be another one.
Yes, kill it.
Appreciate it.